let's just take the premise that everything is energy. And in this day and age, any basic science class that you have, even in high school, teaches kids that at the root of everything, all we have is energy. So at the base of the table or the body or the lighting equipment is just atoms and molecules that are just energy vibrating at different levels.
Right.
So if everything is energy and it's flowing through the world, let's just go for the premise that there is a source to that energy. Now, I stop there because if we take it a step further, we start getting into God and your God versus my God, or his God versus our God. And I don't want to go into that conversation. I just want to assume that there is a source to this energy.
Call it whatever you want.
Right.
There is a source that's
Right.
has a currency throughout this creation.
Right. And I've talked to atheists who can buy the fact that there is a source to the energy of the world.
Right.
Even though they don't want to leap into the conversation of there being a God, maybe. So we start with source as the premise. And if there is a source to this energy, and most of our lives are spent with our attention focused outwardly,
Yes.
and that energy is actually coming through us into the world, then how do we realign ourselves to put attention on that energy? So the only way that's been done over thousands of years that's actually effectively worked to accomplish that is meditation and stilling the mind. The mind is like a puppy. It's constantly running after all those random thoughts and desires that are flowing through the brain. And the only way to still that is through the act of meditation, or stilling the mind. So the first part of the book is, it's not about meditating to reach some enlightenment or some spiritual idea that you can attain. It's meditation just to focus your attention on your inner expression rather than allowing your attention to continually chase outward objects. And the best one that I usually give as an example is, imagine that you're sitting in a bookstore, a huge bookstore, and you're sitting in the middle of the room in the bookstore. And there are books that you can see from your vantage point all over the store.
Right.
And each thought that pops into your head, you imagine as a little lit up book title. So somewhere in the bookstore, you see a book title on the bookbinder light up. And you notice it, but bring your attention right back to the fact that you're just supposed to be sitting in the bookstore. And what this relates to is that behind every random thought that flows through your head is a complete story that if you latch onto that thought, it's like taking that book off the bookshelf and beginning to read into hundreds of pages behind that one little thought that was just a random fleeting through your
Right.
mind. So I try to get people to just spend 15 minutes in the morning continually bringing their attention off of the thought and back on the fact that they're just supposed to be sitting quietly in the bookstore. And what people will find in the beginning, even 10, 15 seconds in, is that they've taken a book off the shelf, as an example. So I'm sitting here going, you know, why am I trying this? Who is that Jeff Gitterman guy anyway? I have that credit card bill due. All right, so that's the thought that I just pulled the bookshelf off. I have that credit card due. Now you get into an inner dialogue with yourself. So you're beyond just watching the thought go by. Now you've jumped into the story. How am I going to pay that credit card bill? Oh, I shouldn't be sitting here. I should be going to work. You know, can I borrow some money from my friend Joe to pay that credit card
Right.
bill? And you're wrapped up in that story, and it's endless. And what I ask people to do is, when they notice that, because you will notice it, because somewhere in the back of your mind will be this reminder that says you're supposed to be meditating, is just put the book back on the shelf, put the thought away for now, and bring your attention back to the fact that you're just sitting in the bookstore. And when you start doing that, you realize very quickly that there's an endless stream of random thoughts flowing through your mind, and that your mood and emotions and feelings and day, to a large degree right now, is based on which random thought you took off the shelf and started creating a story about. So if it's a happy thought, for a while you have a happy experience. If it's a sad thought, for a while you have a sad experience. And people are always afraid that detachment from that stream will bring detachment from the world and from experience and emotion. But detachment from that stream allows you and I to connect on a level that if we're both playing in that stream, we can never connect on.